Welcome to the Explainer. Look, I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are diving straight into something that honestly terrifies a lot of home cooks: the elegant, chilled fruit dessert spread. Right? I mean, if you've ever wanted to host a summer party but ended up literally sweating over a hot stove while your guests are out there mingling without you, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're demystifying 5 incredibly vibrant fruit forward recipes. We've actually structured this entire explainer as a visual timeline of effort. We're going to start with some incredibly simple dips and drinks, and then work our way up to manual freezing techniques. By the end of this, you'll be hosting like an absolute pro. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our lesson plan for today. First, essential fruits and pantry staples. Second, quick preps for dips and drinks. Third, assembling the fruit tarts. Fourth, manual freezing for sorbet and granita. And finally, plating, garnishing, and pairings. Section 1. Essential fruits and pantry staples. Organizing your kitchen for success. So check out how cleanly we can split up this grocery list. It's like a giant puzzle, and grouping things really stops you from feeling overwhelmed before you even start. On the left, we've got our fresh produce: bananas, strawberries, cherries, just massive amounts of citrus like pink grapefruit and fresh mint. Now, a quick safety reminder here, and this is absolutely crucial. When you're peeling, pithing, and sectioning all that citrus or slicing up bananas, always make sure you're using a really sharp knife on a stable cutting board to prevent any slips. Seriously, be careful. Then on the right, we have our pantry and liquid staples. Notice how using a budget-friendly pantry swap, like say pre-made shortbread shells instead of making pastry from scratch, combines just beautifully with the fresh stuff. And hey, if you need to make swaps to accommodate your guests, a lot of these are super adaptable. Moving on to Section 2, quick preps, dips, and drinks. We're talking low effort, high reward here. Okay, you have to see this beautifully simple pina colada fruit dip. It's a massive confidence builder. You literally just place 1 cup of canned crushed pineapple, and definitely keep the juice in there, right into your food processor. Then add 3.5 ounces of coconut instant pudding mix, 3/4 of a cup of whole milk, and half a cup of sour cream. Process it until it's just perfectly smooth. By the way, if you want a dairy-free alternative, you can easily swap in dairy-free milk and a plant-based sour cream right here. But the absolute most critical step in this whole shebang: refrigerating it overnight. That chilling time is an essential technique to get those flavors melding perfectly. 12. Yeah, you heard that right. 12 is the massive number of cups of ginger ale you're going to need for our old-fashioned fruit punch. You take all that ginger ale and mix it with 4 cups of cold tea, 4 cups of orange juice, the juice of 4 lemons, thinly sliced oranges, and 2 cups of sugar. Stir it all up until that sugar completely dissolves, chill it, and then top it with soda water. It is an effortlessly scalable party drink. Plus, it creates this flawless flow for hosting because it gives your guests something super refreshing the very second they walk in the door. All right, Section 3, assembling the fruit tarts, medium effort and essential techniques. Now for our nut fruit tart. The recipe gives us this exact visual cue. Whip the whipping cream till stiff. If you're a novice in the kitchen, you really want to watch that cream closely. When you lift your whisk and the cream holds a firm peak without just collapsing back on itself, you are there. And only then do you gently stir in a few grains of salt and your half cup of refined sugar. I want you to lock this specific measurement in your head: 1.5. For the nut fruit tart, you need 1.5 cups of that whipping cream we just whipped up and exactly 1.5 cups of puffed raisins. You're going to divide that sweetened cream right in half. Take 1/2 and combine it with your raisins, chopped nuts, and sliced bananas, and then pile all of that into your baked pie shells. Finally, you use the remaining cream to spread evenly right over the top. Our next tart is the strawberry glazed fruit tart. First off, a quick safety reminder. You are going to be baking 19 shortbread pie shells sprinkled with a tablespoon of cinnamon sugar, so please be super careful around those hot oven surfaces. Once they're baked, just let the shells cool. Meanwhile, you'll toss a quart of halved fresh strawberries and a drain can of pineapple chunks in a bowl and pop them in the fridge to chill. Next comes a really crucial kitchen technique: folding. You're going to gently fold a 16-ounce jar of strawberry glaze into that chilled fruit mix. Now, folding means you aren't aggressively stirring it. You're just gently turning the mixture over itself so you preserve the delicate structure of those fresh berries. And this brilliantly illustrates how you manage your time. To maintain a smooth flow when you're prepping multiple desserts for a party, you absolutely have to multitask on a timeline. At 0 minutes, bake your shells. At 15 minutes, while those hot shells are cooling off, toss and chill your fruit. At 30 minutes, fold in your glaze and assemble everything. Then, just let those assembled tarts chill for an hour or even overnight. Oh, and a quick tip for outdoor summer gatherings, you can keep these gorgeous tarts perfectly cold by arranging your serving platter over a larger tray filled with crushed ice. It works like a charm. Section 4. Manual freezing, sorbet and granita, high effort and patience. But hey, before we freeze anything, we really need to talk about flavor balancing. Our pink grapefruit honey sorbet calls for a whopping 16 cups of ruby red or pink grapefruit juice. To balance that intense, acidic tartness, the recipe specifically brings in 2 tablespoons of pure honey and some fresh mint sprigs. The honey just cuts the bite perfectly. And as a great little bonus, it serves as an awesome alternative if you're trying to use less refined sugar in your desserts. Now, sure, using an ice cream machine is super easy, but check out this manual variation. It is completely viable and definitely more budget-friendly. You literally just mix your grapefruit juice, the honey, and a half cup of triple sec liqueur, pour the whole thing straight into a 9 by 13-inch pan, and freeze it thoroughly. Once it's frozen solid, you just manually shave the iced mixture. It creates this stunning, rustic presentation that feels incredibly high-end, and you didn't even need any fancy extra equipment. So for our poached grapefruit granita, we do what's basically a manual freezing loop. First, you actually boil water, grapefruit juice, and a cup of sugar on the stove. And again, please watch those hot surfaces. Steep your grapefruit sections in that hot liquid and then refrigerate it. Next, you add 2 tablespoons of Campari, pour it all into a metal bowl set over iced water, and then the freezing loop begins. You freeze it for 30 minutes, pull it out, scrape the icy particles from the sides, stir it up, and put it back in. You just repeat this scraping and stirring every 30 minutes for 2 to 2.5 hours. So, how do you actually know when you're done with all that looping? Well, the recipe gives us another really great visual cue. You stop when the mixture is fully frozen and the texture is distinctly grainy. That grainy texture, that is the hallmark of a classic granita. Seriously, your patience here is going to create an incredibly elegant dessert. Finally, Section 5. Plating, garnishing, and pairings. The elegant display. So the crucial point is bringing all these techniques together into a cohesive, colorful presentation. You know, a successful dessert spread really relies on colorful plating techniques. You should always serve your manual sorbets and shaved granitas in pre-chilled stem glasses. It really slows down the melting. Garnish the sorbet, the granita, and the punch with vibrant green, fresh mint sprigs. For the nut fruit tart, top that final layer of cream with some chopped nuts and beautifully bright chopped maraschino cherries. And finally, for those strawberry tarts, top them off with whipping cream and a nice sprinkle of extra cinnamon sugar. Arranging your platters for a good party flow is absolutely vital. But you know what else is? Telling your guests what to actually eat together. I highly recommend pairing the rich, creamy nut tart with all those bananas, cream, and nuts right alongside a glass of the refreshing, citrusy old-fashioned fruit punch. The tart ginger ale, along with the lemon and orange juice in the punch, acts as a perfect palate cleanser. It just cleanly cuts right through the sweet richness of the pie. It's a totally brilliant pairing. Which brings us to the end of today's explainer. We have covered a ton of ground, from simple overnight dips to manual scraping techniques, and it all relies on a solid timeline. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. How will you structure your time to create your own masterful chilled dessert spread? Because with the right preparation, those basic pantry staples and fresh fruits will absolutely turn you into the ultimate host. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and happy prepping!